of all, let me say thank you to my wife, Michelle. How about a big another round of applause? She was so nervous to come up here and do this today, but she's a natural, and she's the greatest secret weapon I have and the greatest asset. And let me just say, the greatest mother to 3 wonderful children. I'm so lucky to have her. I couldn't do this without her. Thank you, Michelle, for supporting this effort and this journey and this run for mayor. I couldn't do it without you. I love you. And let me thank all of my family that's in the room here today. My sister Michelle and my brother-in-law Drew, and how about my mom and dad, all my family, my aunts and uncles, my cousins, Michelle's family. I'm blessed to have such a strong family of Consalvos, O'Briens, Keddys, Campbells, all of the folks, Martins, all of the folks who support me and help with this run. I'm very, very blessed. You can't do anything in life without a strong family. Family is always first, and I'm blessed to have the greatest family on earth. Let me also thank my great friend and a real leader in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the State Senate, someone whose stock is only continuing to rise as one of the voices leading not just East Boston and Cambridge and the North End and downtown, but leading all of us as a strong voice for working families and the issues we care about. He's an incredible state senator. He's an amazing friend of mine, and he's been with me since day one when I ran 10 years ago. He's here with his family. I want to thank the Petrocelli family, State Senator Anthony Petrocelli, for being here to MC this tonight. Thank you for your 15 years of friendship. Unbelievably, he got through this without one insult. I warned him. But I'm so grateful for the friendship of Anthony and his wife and his entire and all the Petrocelli family for everything they've done to me. Quickly to the speakers here tonight. Jerome, Nio, Billy, 3 great friends, 3 unbelievable neighborhood activists and community leaders, 3 people who have dedicated themselves to their corner of their community here in Boston, who work tirelessly in Rosendale and in the Fenway and in Mattapan and in the entire city of Boston to make their neighborhood in this city great. To my friends, to the 3 speakers, thank you for being here to support my candidacy. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for telling our story. But most importantly, thank you for what you do to keep our city strong and great. And I'm so grateful that they were here tonight to speak on my behalf. Also to all of the volunteers that are helping me with this campaign, and I promise I'm not thanking everyone in the room, but I will thank you as an entire group. To the volunteers, so many people who put today on, who've helped me get signatures, to all the volunteers who are holding signs, to the incredible strong support of volunteers that I have in every neighborhood of this city, from every corner of Boston. I'm so blessed with the strongest organization, the most volunteers, the best friends in every neighborhood, the most dedicated people all across the city and every neighborhood who believe in my candidacy for mayor. Thank you to the volunteers who are helping me in every single neighborhood of this city. And to my staff on the city council, Kayla, Brian, Lee, David, and all of the folks who've worked for me who are in this audience, my former staff who are here. I think all of you know in this room the great work our staff does. We're only as good as the staff that we surround ourselves with. And I'm very proud that I hear in the halls of City Hall and around the neighborhoods that I have had and still have and do have the best staff that works in city government. Brian and Kayla and Dave and Lee, and to all those who work on my behalf out in the neighborhoods of this city, thank you all very much for your great work on my behalf. And let me just say thank you to everybody in this room. Before I give my speech, I want to just go off the speech for a moment to thank each and every one of you who are here today. As I look out on this crowd that's before us today, I am humbled and overwhelmed by the size of the crowd and the amount of people in this room. Thank you very much for being here, for supporting me on the city council, for supporting me in my runs for re-election, for supporting me for this run for mayor. To move this city forward. And thank you for supporting the great work we're going to do together, both on this campaign and when we win mayor of the city of Boston. So let me just say, I think what we all know why we're here today And today I'm proud to officially announce my candidacy for mayor of the city of Boston. We will run hard, we will run in every neighborhood, and that we will win. And I'm even prouder to be able to make this announcement today before so many members of my family, my friends, and supporters. People have worked so hard with me over these years to make Boston better. And I'm so proud that that's our slogan. Make Boston better. That's what everybody should do every single day to make Boston better. I'm running for mayor because I love this city. I'm running because I love public service and I love helping people, which is what I think government is about, or at least should be about. I'm also running because I love to find new solutions to the problems that we still face in the city. And I want to combine that old-fashioned sense of public service with the willingness to embrace new ideas, new energy, new innovation to make Boston even better, stronger tomorrow than it is today. I think that my background and my career have now prepared me for this moment and for this office. I grew up in Boston in the 70s and 80s, and I saw my parents work hard to make our neighborhood a better city during those times. They set an example of civic involvement and neighborhood pride that has stuck with me ever since. And while I was still in college and immediately afterward, I went to work in Washington, D.C. for the late Senator Ted Kennedy, something that I am so proud of, to have had that experience to work for one of the giants of the United States Senate. Someone who fought for poor people, working people, the cities in our neighborhoods. I saw how hard he fought for all the voices in our country. That laid the foundation for me and the belief that's what public service is all about. And I remember that when I told Senator Kennedy that I was coming home to work for Representative Scotia and hopefully run for office one day, he reminded me that government was about helping people, pure and simple. From Washington, I went to the State House on Beacon Hill, where I worked for State Representative Angelo Scotia, our Dean of the House and my mentor who is here today, Representative Scotia. That's where I honed my constituent service skills, fighting for people, working to solve day-to-day problems they face. That's also where I learned about how ideas get transformed into real solution, how legislation gets made, and the fiscal realities faced by people in government. From the State House, I went to City Hall when I was proudly elected to the Boston City Council by many people and all of you in this room to serve the people of Hyde Park, Rosendale, Reedville, and Mattapan. For 11 years. It's hot up here. It's not because I'm out of shape. Before he said that. For 11 years, I've been represented what is probably the most diverse district in the city today. Full-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And during that time, I've not only been able to fight effectively for the residents of my district, but I've been a leader in the council in coming up with innovative solutions and real strategies that make the entire city a better place to live, work, and raise a family. Now, I want to bring my energy, my willingness to work hard, and my ability to embrace new ideas, my proven record of innovation and leadership, and my passion for public service to serve all the people of Boston as your mayor. You know, so far, the other candidates in this race have said they're running for mayor because they can't pass up the opportunity. Well, I'm running for mayor because I can't pass up the opportunity that being mayor would give me to continue to help even more people in our city, to improve all our neighborhoods, and to further my commitment to make sure that Boston continues to be the leading city in our country in so many ways. And I think I bring the unique background, the record of accomplishment, and the true vision for the city that no one else in this race can match. First of all, let me just say how much credit Mayor Menino deserves for making Boston as good as it is today. Let's hear it for our mayor, Tom Menino, who will go down in history as the greatest mayor to ever serve not just our city, but in our country. Thank you, Mayor Menino, for the 20 years in the mayor's office and the 30 years of public service you've given our city. I'm also real proud of the work that I've done as a city councilor to make Boston better for the last 11 years. You know, there's an old saying that says, let your work speak for you. Well, I'm proud of what my work says, and I want to thank Senator Petrocelli for highlighting some of that. That work included on the City Council proposing and leading the fight to implement the ShotSpotter technology that allows police officers to respond within minutes of shots being fired, and is working to reduce gun violence every day in our city. But I was able to to work with parents and our superintendent to develop a Rosendale K-8 pathway plan, a first of its kind in the city that was modeled in the new student assignment plan and being modeled in every neighborhood in our city now. As Anthony said, passed John's Law to prevent drunk driving in our city, an ordinance that Boston was the first in the country to do, and that was passed in Congress, is now the law of the land in every state in our country. Right here in the city of Boston. And I'm so proud of that. And I'm proud of passing a groundbreaking foreclosure law that holds our banks accountable for their blighted properties in our neighborhoods. Now we make sure, because of this law, that banks have to maintain their properties and that these properties don't become a problem in our communities. They got to follow the law just like every other homeowner in our city. These are some of the things that I've been able to do to make Boston better, but that's only the beginning of what I want to do for our city. My vision for a better Boston is a city that combines the brains of all its ingenuity with the brawn of all of its resources, and with the heart and compassion of all its people to benefit everyone, in every neighborhood, every day. That vision includes big ideas, like completing the development of Boston's waterfront and making sure that it connects better to our downtown, but also includes smaller, individual acts, like making sure a Boston public school student is the first member of his or her family to go to college. It includes basic services and basic things, like making sure parks are renovated and our sidewalks get fixed. But it also includes grand goals, like installing the confidence in every resident that because they live in Boston, they've maybe got a little bit more going for them than anywhere else in our country. Because that is the great thing about our city, and especially about Boston. Everything big and small, basic and grand, binds people together by a common thread that we all share, by virtue of the fact that we all live here together. That's because while the demographics of some of our neighborhoods might be different, the hopes and dreams of the people in our neighborhoods are the same. We all want safe streets, good schools, strong business districts. We all want the opportunity to better ourselves and make things better for our families and our neighbors. That's the common thread that binds every neighborhood and every citizen of the city together. Thank you. My vision for a better Boston is a city that is open to new ideas, and all ideas. Ideas like my good friend Beth Remus. Is Beth in the room tonight? Where's Beth? I think she's here. Beth, give me a clap if you're here. If not, Beth Remus is a constituent from Rosendale, and she and Bill Canada from the Westwood Fire Department and Charlie Pop from the Boston Fire Department came to me with the idea to create a special needs registry that's linked to our 911 system. That way, emergency responders, when approaching an emergency, can be made aware of any emotional, physical, or other needs of people into the homes of which they're called. They'll know if a child suffers from autism, an elderly person has Alzheimer's, or if someone is physically handicapped. And they'll be better prepared to make that rescue to help those families. Thanks to Beth and Bill and Charlie for bringing this great idea to my attention, and for allowing me to be the partner of bringing this idea to reality. I want a Boston that invites those new ideas from everybody, from the young and the old, from lifelong neighborhood residents, from new institutions, from immigrants in our community, and from our colleges and universities. People want to be involved in the civic life of our city. You have great ideas out there, and I want you to be involved in a Consalvo administration. I want all your ideas to help make Boston better. I don't care if they're old ideas or new ideas, just as long as they're good ideas, and you can help me with that. As mayor, I want to help adopt best practices from other cities. Sure, we're smart in Boston, but nobody has a monopoly on good ideas. For example, let's not be afraid to try something that seems to be working in New York just because we hate the Yankees. As a city councilor, some of my best ideas, like John's Law and ShotSpotter, have come from you, your neighbors, my other colleagues in government in other cities, and of course, the Sports Illustrated of Municipal Officials Governing Magazine. That's why, in my Better Boston, I'll create a cabinet-level position of innovation, ideas, and technology to bring those new ideas and new technologies to our city. This new department will be charged with tapping into the next wave of ideas from all Bostonians, and it will seek out the best practices from all over the country and even all over our world, because we're going to do it better and better here in the city of Boston. My vision for Boston is a city that continues to maintain a strong fiscal foundation, even when that means making tough decisions that are not always popular. I want to make sure that we continue to build on today's successes to guarantee a stronger tomorrow. A strong fiscal foundation is the bedrock for a strong city. It what's made companies want to stay here and grow here and move here from other places. It what generates jobs and what grows jobs for Boston residents. Our neighbors who have fine work in our city. A strong budget and a strong fiscal foundation is what keeps our city strong. And I want to make sure that we continue to maintain a strong fiscal environment and a strong bond rating so that we can continue to invest in capital improvements in our neighborhoods. That strong fiscal foundation is what's allowed me to work with you to build and renovate schools and parks and playgrounds. Like in my district, the Flaherty Pool in Rosendale that's being rebuilt. Our new community center in Hyde Park. And it will allow, a strong fiscal foundation will allow us to continue to invest in other projects all around the city and in all our neighborhoods. As mayor, I will continue to make sure that we not only continue to invest just in the capital infrastructure, but making sure that we provide quality city services to every single neighborhood, to every resident, no matter where they live. And we will continue to support every person in our neighborhood. That includes our crime watch groups, our neighborhood associations, our youth organization, and all the groups that are the glue that holds our communities together. And most of all, and we should never forget that investing in our neighborhoods means taking care of all of the people. All of those people who truly need our help, like people who have substance abuse issues. We must continue to provide treatment, education, and a renewed sense of urgency in providing prevention to those people who need our help in our community. My vision for Boston also is a city that continues to build on the progress we've made in our schools. The Boston Public Schools have a great story to tell, but it always doesn't get told. We need to publicize and replicate our successes in the Boston Public Schools, even when we acknowledge the challenges that we still face. And then we work together tirelessly to solve those problems and move forward. I want a city where we work collaboratively with teachers and the administrators in the Boston Public Schools, who I know want to be part of our solution. Attacking teachers, attacking administrators, attacking the people that work in our schools doesn't solve anything. It only further divides us. As mayor, I promise to engage in a real dialogue that will unite all of our stakeholders in the Boston Public Schools in an effort to keep making our schools better. And I can tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Every night at the dinner table, I have 4 reminders about why I'm going to keep my promise as your next mayor to invest in public education. Amanda and Anthony that go to the Boston Public Schools, Austin that will join them next year, and a wife that works tirelessly to make sure they're getting the best education possible. They will not let me forget my need as mayor to keep working to make the Boston schools even better than they are today. And I am proud that my children go to the Boston Public Schools. I want to work with everyone to close our achievement gap in our schools so that every student is benefiting from the progress we are making. I want to put an end to the tier levels of school. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. Every parent in every neighborhood in the city should have a Tier 1 school in their neighborhood to send their children to. And I want to work with everyone to improve our underperforming schools, not just by spending more money on them, although money is important. We need longer school days and a longer school year. We need to discuss how we make these a reality. And we need a long-term plan to make every school in the city a Tier 1 school, and every school in the city that wants to be a K-8, that wants to be one, can be one. We need to work together for that. But we also need to remember, though, that every school must provide the best possible education service to those students who have special needs. We owe it to them, we owe it to their parents, and we always must be mindful of this obligation to public education. And I won't forget it as your mayor. And when it comes to the schools, we need to talk to people out in the neighborhoods. We need to talk to our friends and our business leaders and find out what they think we need to be doing. I'm not afraid of hearing what you and the leaders in our community think we need to be doing to make our schools better. You know, I recently was at the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce breakfast where John Hyler, who grew up in Rosendale, runs one of the largest companies in America, Nataxis Global Asset Management. And at this breakfast, he used it as, I thought he was running for office. He used it as an opportunity to encourage and strongly urge all business leaders in the city to become more involved in public education in the Boston Public Schools. He basically stood up at this breakfast and called out all his colleagues saying that they need to get involved in the schools. His company, Nataxis Access Global Management, has partnered with the John Winthrop Elementary School in Dorchester, and they've created a mentoring program through which the company's employees are mentoring students at their school. John now put it out there that every business leader and every company in Boston should be more involved with the Boston Public Schools. Every employee that works for these multi-zillion-dollar corporations should be investing in the schools and mentoring kids. It's a fantastic idea. We need more help from our business community. And then in John's speech, he proposed that we update our vocational education program by creating a stronger vocational education program that focuses more on a long-term STEM tech program. Now, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And he's suggesting that we have a full program and a new program like our vocational education program in STEM, teaching kids and preparing for kids in all kinds of careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. They could learn how to be a scientist, or they could learn how to operate the machine that the scientist invents. Either way, they're going to be trained for good jobs and good wages to do good things. And it's the future of the global economy in Boston and in Massachusetts. These are two ideas that aren't mine. They came from John. But I think they're awesome ideas. And as mayor, I look forward to working with John and so many other people on implementing fantastic ideas like this that we're hearing and that are out there in our city every day. That's why, as mayor, I would actually revive the Boston Compact, which was first established in the 1980s. It was established back then as a way to get businesses, colleges and universities and other institutions and organizations to partner with the Boston Public Schools. Well, I believe that we need a new Boston Compact for the 21st century, working to harness every good idea, old and new, and harness the collective energy of the many people from all walks of life who want to work together to make our city better, to benefit our schools and the students in our city, so most importantly that they will be prepared to enter the technology-driven world of today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Public safety is everyone's first concern, and as mayor, I will continue to make it mine. If you don't feel safe in your neighborhood, then nothing else matters. We are all so proud of the courage shown and the great job done by our first responders, but I want to continue to work hard every day to make sure that we're making a better Boston that keeps our neighborhoods even safer than they are today.
Yeah.
I'll do that by continuing to strongly support our police, fire, and EMS departments, and the men and women who work in police, fire, and EMS, who are on the front lines of providing public safety, who deserve not just our thanks, but our support. And let's, please, can we give all police, fire, and EMS and all the folks in public safety a big round of applause for what they do? Let's not forget the incredible work they did during the Marathon bombing tragedy. We honor them for their work, and we also keep all those who are affected in our thoughts and prayers. I'll continue to support our public safety personnel and our police by continuing to invest in manpower, by making sure we keep our staffing levels up, by graduating new police classes at the police academy, continuing to deploy community service officers who will walk a beat and attend community meetings, block party, and other neighborhood events. And I'll continue to do it by investing in new technology, like expanding the shot spotter system that I propose to every single neighborhood in the city of Boston. A proven technology that's working to reduce gun violence. And we'll invest in other technologies to give the police all the tools they need to do their job, like dashboard-mounted cameras on all police cruisers to help protect the public and the police, and portable fingerprint scanners in each cruiser that will help keep officers on the street instead of going back to our stations. These are new tools that will help police do their job better, more efficiently, and keep them safe. New technology is not a magic wand that will instantly reduce crime, but it's one more tool working with our police to help make our city safer. And we'll do it also by investing in proven community partnerships we've established all over the city, and these are so important. The partnerships with our crime watch organizations, our neighborhood associations, the programs that our local clergy have developed to intervene with young kids in our community to keep them away from a life of gang violence and drugs. We will work with our long-standing neighborhood partners because a city that works best is a city that works together. I will also do making Boston safer by continuing to invest in the Boston Fire Department, making sure the fire department has the latest equipment, training, and personnel so they continue to be the best department in the country. And I'll also continue to work with our partners at EMS to give them all the tools they need to continue to save lives. And finally, I want to continue to make sure that Boston shows the way when it comes to setting a standard, for a high standard, when it comes to electing those whom we trust to lead our city. I've done that as a city councilor because I proposed the ordinance that requires all city councilors fill out statements of financial disclosure, like every other elected official has to do in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so we have transparency in what our financial dealings are. And that's why I've called on my fellow candidates in this race to join me in signing a People's Pledge for Boston in our race for mayor. The People's Pledge, the Boston Pledge rather, is modeled after the People's Pledge, which was successfully used in the 2012 Senate race. Implementing it in a mayor's race will prevent any group from interfering with the true intent of the democratic process. We want an open and fair discussion of the issues important to the cities and the values and visions of our cities and our candidates. This election should be decided by hard work and new ideas demonstrated by the candidates and reflect the will of the voters. Should not be overwhelmed by outside interests. So working with all of you and working with this pledge, we will make sure that we keep Boston free from outside interests, and we have a real debate about the issues facing our city. We hear from the residents of our neighborhood, we hear from the stakeholders of our community, and we hear from the people who should be making the decision on who the next mayor is, and that's each and every one of you and every person in our neighborhood. Let's keep pressing this money out of the mayor's race. We have so much going for us in Boston, and that's why I'm convinced today that we can make Boston of tomorrow even better than it is today. When it comes to how we do things, I want people to say no city does it smarter than Boston does. When it comes to what we do for the people of our city, for all of our people in every neighborhood, not just some of our neighborhoods, I want people to say no city does more for its residents than Boston does. When it comes to working together, the private, public, and nonprofit sectors, I want people to say that no city works more closely, more cooperatively, and more effectively together than we do right here in the city of Boston. And I want them to say that no city is stronger than the city of Boston. If you give me the chance to be your next mayor, if you give me the chance to lead our city and push my vision and my work in public service forward, I believe that working with you and working together, I can be the next mayor who will lead this already great city of Boston into a next generation of greatness. Let's work together to continue to make Boston better.